Hello and welcome, Tiger families. My name is Lindsay McCrory, and I have the pleasure of serving as the manager of Parent and Family Programs. We are so excited to have you joining us today for our final Tiger Family Talks webinar of the semester. I think this is going to be a really helpful and wonderful topic. We'll be diving into all that you need to know about summer experiences and building a resume for your Tiger with your Tiger. So we're going to be featuring some representatives from the Olinde Career Center, along with current LSU students and parents for a panel a little bit later on. So if you've joined us for one of our webinars before, welcome back. Thank you again for joining us again. And if this is your first one, at the end of the session, I'm going to go over all of the different sessions that we've hosted, and you can find a link to the recordings from the past webinars so you can check all those out and see all of the great information that we are sharing with our Tiger families. So Parent Family Programs is an office right here on campus that is dedicated to you, our Tiger families, and providing you support and information throughout the year. So at any point when you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our office. Just to go over a little bit of the housekeeping of how it works tonight, we have people joining us via Zoom and Facebook Live. So welcome to viewers on both platforms. Thank you again for joining us. If you are on Zoom, then you can utilize the chat and Q&A features via Zoom to ask us your questions. So the chat is a great place to insert an emoji or a quick comment about what we're saying. But the Q&A is where we'd really like for you to put any questions that you have for our panelists. So you can utilize each of those differently. And then if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can use the comments for everything, questions, chat, whatever you want to share with us. We're happy to engage with you via those comments on Facebook Live. So right now, I'd love for everyone to introduce themselves on the chat or in the comments on Facebook. Make sure that you select all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see your response. I'll start us off. My name is Lindsay McCrory once again, and I am from Covington, Louisiana, which is just about a little over an hour from Baton Rouge. And I am an LSU alum and absolutely adore this place. Definitely know what it means to bleed purple and gold. So I'd love to hear where you are coming from. I know we have panelists from both in-state and out-of-state, so we'll be featuring some parents from Atlanta, Georgia area, California, and also our New Orleans, so a local mom. And then we have some students who are also joining us as well. And while y'all are introducing yourselves, I'm going to jump into the next portion. We have a little poll that we want to ask you some questions. So we just want to get a feel for who's joining us today via Facebook and Zoom. If you're on Zoom, we're going to launch the poll in just a minute, so you'll see the questions that way. So you can see the questions now, that very first question. So you can see it's what classification is your Tiger? And it looks like everybody so far is freshmen. If you're on Facebook, you don't have this feature, so just put it in the comments for us. Let us know if your student is a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. Looks like everybody's locking in their responses. And so I think we can go ahead and we can showcase those results. So it looks like we have 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore, 1 junior. So perfect. So got a little range here. It's good no matter what classification your Tiger is. We definitely have some great content to share, and it's never too late to start thinking about summer experiences and how your Tiger can make the most of their resume. All right, our next question is, let me see. Sorry about that, y'all. You can answer it now. Have you had a conversation with your Tiger yet about their plans for this summer? So first response, yes, my Tiger already has a job, internship, or experience secured. Congratulations, that's awesome. Yes, my Tiger is currently looking for a summer experience. Looks like a few of you are locking that in. Or final option, no, that's why I'm here. And you're in the right place. Awesome. All right, I think the responses are locked in, so we'll go ahead and share those results. And so we've got a mix, we've got a range of why everybody's here, so that is perfect. We're gonna go over no matter what part in the process you're looking for, we have great information to share for all that. So thank you for participating in our poll. We really have some great content that we want you to enjoy tonight. And so this webinar really aims to prepare your Tiger. We are joined by Courtney Frost. She is our career coach in the Olinde Career Center, and she is going to actually start us off with a presentation and some helpful information for you. Courtney.
All right, welcome everyone. As Lindsay mentioned, my name is Courtney and I'm a career coach here at the LSU Olinde Career Center. So I work every day with Tigers who are looking to take that next step in their career, whether that be choosing a major, working on their resume, preparing for an interview, finding opportunities, or taking that next step away from LSU, whether that be a full-time job or graduate school. And so today, of course, we're here to talk about summer experiences and how your Tiger can use that to build their resume no matter what opportunity that may be. So we will go ahead. We've already done our poll questions. Wonderful. So I'll go over a little bit about what the Career Center does and the services that we offer, just so that we're all on the same page here. So our mission is up on the screen. It's to assist students and alumni in choosing careers, obtaining career-related work experiences, developing job search skills, and securing employment and admission to graduate or professional school. So as mentioned, we're here for your Tiger every step of the way, no matter where they are on that kind of continuum. We're here to assist them in whatever way we can. We do that through one-on-one virtual appointments this semester, typically in person, through workshops and group appointments, through programming, through recruitment events where we bring employers to campus and we give them a space to connect and kind of talk about full-time internships, other opportunities that they may like, through emails, through all sorts of medium. And so that is what we offer to students. Happy to answer any questions about our work or anything else kind of as we go and at the end. Wonderful. So everybody, will be wondering, like, what do employers care about when you are looking for a summer experience, whether that be an internship, a co-op, a part-time job, volunteer work, project work, all of that. And so if you're applying to an opportunity, kind of like an internship or a co-op that is, directly related to your major or is kind of a stepping stone into a full-time opportunity later on, the first thing that they're going to look at are your academics, which is major, a minor, if you have that, and your GPA. They're going to say, okay, check, you have these things. Then we have related experience. So these are things that are directly related to your Tiger's career field. And these are kind of the things that most students are kind of, looking to attain. So this would be part or full-time jobs in that field, internships in the field, co-ops in the field, or project work in the field. So directly related experience is going to be super important upon graduation and kind of makes the candidates most competitive. And then after that, we have transferable skills and transferable experiences. So these are things that are outside of that career field. And they're transferable, but not directly related because they're not directly in that field. So these can be all of the things above: jobs, internships, co-ops, and projects, or it could be other things like volunteer work, leadership positions. It could be a variety of things. And we are here today to talk about the varying ways that you can kind of get these experiences. And so first, when we're going to talk about transferable skills, we have a couple examples later in the slides, but these are the top 8 skill sets that employers look for. And this is data attained nationally through kind of Career Center folks' National Association. They survey employers every year to say, what do you look for when looking to hire college level talent? And these are the things that they tell us every year. Sometimes the order changes around a little bit, but these are the skill sets. And what you'll notice is that none of them are particularly technical or skewed towards one field. They are foundational skills that everybody needs to be a good employee. And when I'm talking to Tigers about their experiences, they might have been a server, they might work at the call center on campus, they might answer the phone at a campus office. I talk to them about these foundational skills. You might answer the phone for Res Life, but what you're really doing is creating and honing your oral communication skills and your professionalism and work ethic. And so we talk about all of those underlying skills that you need in order to do the tasks that you're doing in any given experience. And so these are the top 8. When I work with students, I tell them to reflect on what their experiences are, think about those underlying skills, and reflect on how strong they think these skill sets are. So we're all on a spectrum of, need to develop this entirely to I'm really strong in this. And it's great for everyone to reflect on that and be honest with themselves about where do I stand in leadership and global and intercultural fluency and problem solving and communication. And that way they can kind of assess where they're at and kind of make a game plan going forward to become better at that. And they can reflect on the experiences that they're going to get or that they're currently in to see, okay, I see these experiences happening or these skill sets happening in my current experience. So things that are not directly transferable to that next thing that they want to be doing, we want to think about these underlying skills that are going to be super important and that everybody needs to be successful in the workforce. And so now we'll go ahead and translate that into how this shows up in various summer experiences. I'm going to move this out of my way. All right, so where can you build these necessary skills? In pretty much anything that you do. So again, internships, jobs, volunteer work, in student organizations, research, hobbies, study abroad. Hobbies are really undervalued, I see. I had a student talk to me one time about building a plane with their sibling, and they were like, oh, that's nothing. But sometimes our hobbies are really amazing like that. And sometimes we have a blog or we have an Instagram account that we kind of run on the side. And those are definitely legitimate experiences that your Tiger can use and leverage towards their next thing. And so we will showcase some of that right now. So the first example that we have is just a summer job working at an ice cream shop, something kind of very entry level, customer service oriented, right? Just kind of a stereotypical summer job. And so the job description might read something like on the left of the screen: greet customers, issue receipts and change, maintain a tidy environment, give people ice cream and drink orders, and stock the inventory. And often when I see students, that is what their resume looks like as well. But that's not what we want their resume to look like, because when we're talking about our experience at the ice cream shop with an employer that we want to give us an internship or a job, we don't want to talk about the direct work of the ice cream shop. We want to talk about the things on the right-hand side of the screen: the customer service skills, working in a fast-paced environment in a detail-oriented fashion, compliance with safety standards, problem-solving, communication and teamwork skills, working with diverse clientele, and on and on. So again, that reflection piece, sitting down and thinking, okay, these are the direct tasks that I'm doing, but what's underneath that and what goes into that I can take from this ice cream shop and parlay into an internship or a job or whatever the case may be. And so now we'll look at an example for volunteer work, another common summer activity for our students. So a student might work at the Baton Rouge Zoo and they might say, okay, I prepare the food for the animals, I clean the habitats, I provide tours, and I answer questions and kind of direct guests around. They might say, well, that's not going to get me an engineering job, or that's not going to get me into medical school. But as we see on the right, these are all really in-demand skills. So again, the detail orientation, preparing the food correctly, making sure that the habitats are clean and up to safety standards. The public speaking skills are going to be excellent. You need to be able to speak in front of groups and to other individuals, no matter what job you have. Customer service is always going to be huge. Every company has a customer and they want them treated well so that they can retain that business. The teamwork, the professionalism, all of those things are going to come into play in this volunteer work at the zoo. And a lot of our Tigers don't see that right away. So when you're talking to your Tiger about their summer experience, maybe things that they're looking at, or maybe as they're going through that experience, it's really helpful for somebody who can see these connections to talk to them about that and kind of draw these connections for them so that they can then do it for themselves. All right, and so now we're going to translate that onto a resume. And so our Tiger here has volunteered at the zoo and has worked at Sally's Fabulous Ice Cream Shop, both in Baton Rouge. And so you'll see on here that it's not a lot of the tasks, right? Especially for this ice cream sales associate. So they don't say scoop ice cream, clean store, anything like that, which is what I see a lot. So your tiger doesn't want to say, these are the direct tasks that I did. They want to say, these are the skills that I use. These are the outcomes that I had, and write about it in a way that showcases how that thing can be helpful and make them successful in another environment. Same for the zoo, right? They educate the visitors, they answer questions, they assist people, they maintain cleanliness. All of those things would be valuable in another environment as well. And so you can see these experiences that are probably not directly related to what your tiger will want to do after LSU. You can see how they're written in a way to showcase their transferability, even though they're not a directly related experience. And so how might your tiger find these opportunities? That's always the question. And you want to take a holistic approach to this. So there's no one method that you want your tiger to be spending all of their time doing. First and foremost, I always recommend that students utilize LSU's handshake system. That is our own platform that we use, and it is nationwide. So schools across the country use this, but more importantly, employers across the country use this. In systems that we had similar to Handshake in the past, they were very LSU specific. So employers that directly and only wanted to recruit at LSU would use our platform, but now we have opportunities for everybody. This screenshot in particular on the right is a little dated because we have 14,000 opportunities in Handshake right now, not just 2,500. So we have opportunities across the country, across a variety of career paths, and ideally for every major at LSU. Additionally, in Handshake, students can make appointments, look at resources, and research employers in our employer database. Other tools that they'll want to use will be sites like LinkedIn and Indeed, Monster.com, any of those kind of big online platforms. Those will, of course, have a variety of different opportunities, just depending on which employers prefer to post on which platforms. Then the last two here are networking. So making sure that your personal networks know what your tiger is looking for, because networking is the #1 job search strategy. So making sure that saying, hey, my tiger is looking for this type of opportunity. Does anybody know anybody? Or, just keep a lookout, keep an ear out for that. And then having your tiger leverage their faculty and staff connections. Faculty oftentimes have connections in their industry, and so they can be really powerful resources for helping students find opportunities for the summer and beyond. And that's what I have for you today. The 2 links on the screen are to our website, lsu.edu/career, and then to our Handshake platform, lsu.joinhandshake.com. Every tiger has a Handshake account that they can just log in with their My LSU credentials. And so they don't need to claim one. They don't need to go make an account. They just need to log in and start utilizing the system when they'd like.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. I think that was some really helpful info. And so now I'd like to turn it over and start our panel. I'm going to introduce Carly Bordelon, my colleague, who can start the panel.
Thanks, Lindsay. So when it comes to summer experiences, it's always super helpful to hear about how other students and parents got involved in different opportunities. So we're joined tonight by current LSU students and parents here to share tips and advice from their own experiences. So let's go ahead and meet our panelists. So first up, we have Carlycrist.
Hi, everyone. I am a sophomore. I'm an LSU ambassador. I am a biology pre-med student, and I'm also obtaining a concentration in secondary education. And I'm from Houma, Louisiana.
Awesome. Thank you, Carly. And next we have Noom.
Hi guys, I'm Noom, and I am a senior with a biology major and 2 minors in English and sociology. I am first generation student, and I'm also an immigrant. So I came here when I was 9, and I'm about to graduate, so that's very exciting. But I've lived here from 9 to till now. I'm 23 now, so yeah. So Baton Rouge is my hometown, I guess.
Thank you, Noom. And now we have Tashima James, one of our parent panelists.
Hi, my name is Tashima, and we're from New Orleans. My tiger is a junior majoring in African and African American studies.
Thank you, Tashima. And we have Brett Bernard.
Hey, everybody. I'm just a little bit further down the road from Tashima. I'm from Southern California, as are both of my sons. I have one graduate who graduated exactly 4 years ago this May. He was a business major, gainfully employed thanks to LSU and the studies and internships he had there. And then I have a current student who's going to graduate, knock on wood, this May, pre-med bio major, much as our two student panelists are. We have a couple different diverse career tracks, one pre-med psychiatry and the other is business entertainment.
Great, thank you, Brett. And then we have Carmen and Michael Hughes. Oh, I think y'all are on mute.
I put the video on, but not the sound, right? So I'm sorry. So we're the Hughes family out of Atlanta, and our daughter is Maya, who's also a senior at LSU, so her fourth year. She's majoring in sports administration with a minor in business. She lives in Nicholson Gateway.
Awesome, thank y'all. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. We're gonna start off with Carly. So what are some of the summer experiences that you've had during college so far? And by experiences, we're kind of referring to anything like jobs or volunteer positions or internships.
Yeah, so I haven't had any opportunities. I was a freshman last year when COVID kind of came through, but I did take the opportunity to volunteer at local hospitals and just to kind of help those efforts. And then I still volunteer through local hospitals here in Baton Rouge. This past year, I've been volunteering, so.
Awesome, yeah, and that volunteering is definitely what we're looking at tonight, so that's awesome. Now we have Noom.
Oh, sorry, I was just muted. Yes, so in the summer of 2019, I went to Houston and I did an internship there under the program, the Summer Health Professions Education Program. And it's a program for underrepresented students in the pre-health field. And they just aim to expose us to preceptorships and clinical experience. So I got to rotate among the McGovern Medical School, the dental school, and also the School of Nursing. So I learned, sorry, my brother is playing games in the next door. But yeah, so I got to shadow a bunch of doctors, and then I did like some clinical work, which was like really cool. And then my favorite had to be for, like public health. So I really want to decrease like health disparities here and in Vietnam too. So I got to learn a little bit about that. And then this summer, even though it was COVID, I got a job at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital. So now I'm a medical assistant in the cardiology department. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm planning on working there for my gap year before I go to med school.
That is incredible. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now we have Carmen and Michael. So what are some of the summer experiences that your tiger has had during college so far?
So each summer she's done something different. Summer after her freshman year, she actually came home and resumed her job as a swim coach for our neighborhood. What are they? I forgot their names. Just the Sharks. So she was a Shark, and so with that experience, though, she works with over 100 students, children, swimmers, and so she did that after her freshman year. Sophomore year, she actually stayed in Baton Rouge, and she got a job her sophomore year in the athletic ticket office, and she loved it so much. She's a student worker, but over the summer she was able to work full time. So she stayed in Baton Rouge and worked in the ticket office. And then last year, because of COVID, she was supposed to actually have a sports internship in New York, but wasn't able to. But she was resourceful, and she ended up finding an online internship that was unpaid, but it was good experience. And it's still in her area of interest, which was athletics. So she did some scouting and she created a sports podcast, and it was really kind of interesting for her to do something online. So she had to pivot.
Pivoting this whole last year, lots of pivoting.
Yes.
Okay. Definitely. Thank y'all for sharing. And Tashima, what are some of the summer experiences that your Tigers had?
So my daughter's freshman year, she was an athletic intern for Go Team. So her freshman year, she continued to do that. Sophomore summer, she was a desk assistant. So she had a on-campus job. She started a podcast as that was her hobby. And she also was afforded the opportunity to do a virtual internship. So that was sophomore year. This summer coming up, she's a vice president of residential housing. So she's actually staying on campus and working for that organization.
Great, that's awesome. Okay, and last but not least, Bret.
Hey again, everybody, go Tigers. I would, as I said, I'll go through both of my sons, divergent from each other, but I would just emphasize a couple of things I've heard from the other panelists in that both of my sons knew where they wanted to go. I know quite a few freshmen, and most of the people logging in today are freshman or sophomore parents, many of which don't know what they want to do. So I think, as Courtney shared before, get involved, do something, expand your general skills. But in my case, both of my sons knew what they wanted to do. My older son, who now works for an English firm, he's actually he's leading a launch program for a social media buying company. But he knew he wanted to go into entertainment. His mom worked for Fox Film Corp and broadcast for many, many years. He knew from the get-go that he wanted to be in business and with a focus on entertainment and marketing. So he tailored his summer and during school year opportunities along those lines. His first summer after his freshman year, he worked for a company near Fox in Century City that was a media buy company. They worked in entertainment, TV, and film industry, and they helped buy time on TV, radio, and such. It was a media buy company. Then after his sophomore year, he worked for Fox Sports, which eventually led to his first job a couple of years later. But he worked for Fox Sports as an assistant to a production assistant there on the Fox lot in Hollywood, or Century City, technically. Then after his junior year, he worked for a creative company, creative agency, a local one, small firm that did all sorts of things in entertainment. Then my younger son, again, he knew he wanted to be pre-med, was going psychiatry. In speaking with his cousin, my nephew, who was a doctor, orthopedic surgeon, he had been counseled that, hey, your first year after your freshman year, don't have to necessarily focus on what your career is going to be, just do a job. So his first year, he continued what he had done in high school. He was a surf camp counselor, and he also did some private surf instructions. And he also helped with a friend of ours who has an art dealership, helping her out with that store. His sophomore year, then he actually did work through a contact of mine in Laguna Beach in their free clinic. And he shouted the doctors and did filing for them. So it was medical school, medical related. Then after his junior year, which was, that was last year, he was scheduled to work. He had arranged for an internship during his spring semester, and then was going to be in the summer to work for Lady of the Lakes there in Baton Rouge as a radiologist assistant, medical related, and was also going to then shadow and be an office assistant for a fraternity brother's father who's a doctor. Both of those fell through because of the pandemic. And so he pivoted, went to live most of the summer in Dallas where his girlfriend was, and found not just an internship, but a job working for a company, a private company that was doing COVID testing and other types of testing, medical testing, then in and around the area. So he actually did testing for and with them, and then also did numbers crunching for them in terms of what the results were. And he's actually stayed employed with them from that point through now. I would also mention that my older son, his last 2 years, in addition to his summer jobs, he also was working as an intern for a now defunct movie studio, since the business is down in Louisiana, but worked for a TV and a movie production company there in Baton Rouge as an intern for them, and got some valuable experience there too. So again, it helped that they knew where they wanted to go in getting those positions.
That's great. Such unique opportunities. I love it. Okay, so moving on to the next question, we're going to start this with Noom. So what skills do you think that you have gained from your summer experiences to kind of help you prepare for your career and or like post-secondary plans?
Yeah, so for the internship that I did in Houston, what really opened my eyes was the public health part. I didn't know it existed, so I knew I wanted to become a doctor, but I knew I wanted to do something more for the community and not just see patients. Like I said, I want to decrease health disparities, especially for immigrants like myself, people on Medicaid, and the rural population. So they opened my eyes to public health, and that's why I decided to do the dual program for the MD-MPH program. So the skill that I learned from that internship is to work together with other people. So I was surrounded with people who are going to nursing school, with dental school, going to public health school, and going to other like med schools. So I was able to see, how to plan programs out to help the communities. So it's not only me. I have to work with other public health professionals. I have to work with nurses, to make my plan to decrease health disparities. I can't do it myself. And then for the medical assistant job, I learned a lot. I learned how insurance work, and it's not cut and dry. It's a headache, obviously. And then I learned how to interact with patients. So I do vitals, and I do EKGs. And then I also talk to the doctors. So I learned all of these medical terms that I haven't learned in the classroom setting, for example. So these are very crucial for me going to med school, because now I know what it's like to become a doctor. I used to have a very idealistic look at what a doctor is, just seeing patients and being happy. But now I know that there's a lot of writing involved, a lot of typing on the computer, ordering labs, and reading results. And I do all of this for the doctor beforehand, as in I put them in their notes, and then I'm going to be trained to scribe for them one day. So that's very exciting. And both of these experiences really helped me be a very well-rounded applicant applying now to med school. So I'm very thankful for these experiences.
Awesome. You got the full picture of experience. That's incredible. Okay. Carly, what about you? What skills do you think you gained from your summer experiences?
As a volunteer over the summer and this past year at Baton Rouge General Hospital, I have just kind of similar to Noom, gained experience mostly with patient to patient and with doctors. I answer calls from doctors and communicate those to the family members of the like the family members of the surgery patients. So just learning the ropes, I guess, of being in the hospital, being in the OR, being in that environment. I really enjoy it, and this summer I'm looking forward to finding a job similar to that. But we're keeping options open. Hopefully, I can gain more experience. Hopefully, as much as Noon one day.
That's awesome. Yeah, so lots of professional development. I love it. Okay, next we have Bret. So what skills do you think your Tiger gained from summer experiences?
Well, certainly, as our student panelists have shared, they both, from their individual experiences, learn technical skills. And those technical skills, as Courtney shared, are important and vital, especially if you're focused in on a career in terms of when you eventually apply for a job, what have you done? And you may not have a full understanding, but you have the employer will understand a breadth of understanding. But instead of focusing on the technical skills, where I'm going to go with what skills they learned are what I think they both learned from just general employ and their specific employees as well. They both learned how to deal with people. And that's the obvious one, as Courtney shared. The most thing you can do going forward is how do you deal with people and do that effectively? They honed their listening skills, which are important for both of their jobs. One is as a developing a program and as a business development person. The other is a wannabe psychiatrist or doctor. They learned how to listen to people and to respond appropriately to people. And that's what jobs and internships help you do. They also learned, and in other skills, how do you deal with your bosses? How do you deal with those that are supervising you in an effective way? And also, how do you deal with your patrons, the people they're helping, in terms of expectations, what they're expecting from you as an employee or the company, and how do you communicate that both to them and up the chain of command to the people that are your employers. So they learned how to do that, to develop those skills and to tune those skills. And I think just as important was they learned that to get these positions and to have these positions, they needed to be persistent. They needed to be advocates for themselves to get these positions. It's competitive out there. So they had to get the interviews, they had to go out there. And one of the things my younger son, when I spoke with him, Carly, yesterday about this was, hey, start thinking about these jobs and internships, not for this summer. You should be thinking in the fall ahead. Start thinking early and have backup plans, as we saw this last year. Everybody, I think Carly used the word pivot, but everybody's had to pivot. So make your plans, have backup plans. So they learned how to be advocates for themselves, to be persistent. And they planned well ahead, as I just mentioned. And they networked. They took advantage of the networks with their family, with their friends, with their fraternity brothers. They took advantage of all those skills, not only to find those jobs, but to get those jobs. So I think they learned that networking is essential to anything you do going forward. So I think those are the less obvious skills that you can learn from being an intern or as an employee.
Awesome, thank you, Bret. And now we have Tashima. What skills do you think your Tiger gained from their summer experiences?
One thing I know definitely with my Tiger, starting her own podcast and learning her way with the technology and cameras, she was able to secure a position as a news reporter for LSU, KLSU station. So accountability, teamwork, time management, definitely being professional with her podcast. She was, like I said, it was a hobby, but she took it very seriously, and that was able to translate into a paying job. Also, being able to perfect oral and written communication is very important when reporting the news. So I believe she gained a lot of skills that were able to translate over.
Thank you. That's incredible. Okay. And Carmen and Michael, what skills do you think your Tiger gained from their summer experiences?
Good evening, everybody. I think our Tiger, Maya, definitely gained time management, multitasking, a good handle on sports operations. I think adaptability, things change really quickly, especially this past summer of 2020. I think she learned a lot about teamwork. And then I think also the national championship year of football, where she was working in the athletic ticket office as well, having to work with a lot of alumni and other fans. So learned a lot about customer service and the importance of that. And then lastly, I think remote and virtual working protocols, everybody on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and all similar virtual platforms are things that she gained a lot of experience in as well.
Definitely, lots of Zoom. Okay, and I'm throwing this next one right back at you. Where did your Tiger kind of find these opportunities?
Do you want to take that?
I'll let you take that.
Okay. So I'm glad you guys talked about Handshake. She did a lot through the Handshake through her college itself. I think information will come out. She also looked at Teamwork Online. Teamworkonline.com was a big reference source for her. And then for the volunteering experience, so she volunteered in the food pantry at LSU on campus. And, you know, I think through that process, she also was able to do some networking and find opportunities. And of course, through the ticket office, the various alumni that came through, that also helped her find additional opportunities, just networking.
Great. And Tashima, what about you? How did your Tiger find those opportunities?
The virtual internship was from a faculty member in one of her classes. I think it was they have like a group chat, and the faculty member posted the opportunity for a virtual internship.
Cool, yeah, faculty are definitely always there to help, so that's awesome. Bret, how did your Tigers find those opportunities?
We've heard the word network, and I think that's the most essential. Take advantage of everybody and everyone you know, your parents know, your friends know. And that was the case for both of my sons. The older son, the business one, his were all related to the entertainment industry out here in California, except for the internship he did there in studio in Baton Rouge. I will say that his mom, who was an executive VP at Fox, certainly knew of opportunities and shared those with him, but he had to arrange for those. He arranged for those interviews and got those jobs himself. And so it was a network there where he learned of those opportunities via a family member and or past relationships that she had. So took advantage of that. And then with regards to the internship he had while he was there for his last 2 years, he learned about that through doing some research for what opportunities were there in the area. My younger son then similarly variously learned of the opportunities either through family friends. The position in Laguna Beach with the free clinic was a ski friend of ours, a family friend who we skied with for years, who was a doctor and founded that free clinic. Then the job he had last summer in Dallas and continues to have was through his girlfriend. This is the one he pivoted from. His girlfriend's family, their neighbor was a cardiologist and knew this position, and he pursued it via that. And then his second year, similarly, was through family and friends. But I will say, I'll emphasize that what others have shared, that they didn't, that was where they ended up finding these positions, but both of them talked to professors and asked what opportunities may be there. They talked to the Olin Center about what positions may be there during the year or off campus. And they talked to all the other resources, opportunities. So talk to everybody and again, have a game plan, but to have alternatives available.
Thank you, Bret. And Carly, what about you? How did you find some of those volunteer opportunities?
Yeah, so I was a little bit unsure of what I wanted to do for my major and whatnot. So I worked a lot with the Olinde Career Center. And that is where I heard about like the Go Teach program, which is what I'm doing now. And that's how I'm incorporating my concentration in secondary education. And they kind of told me about the volunteer opportunities at the hospital I volunteer at frequently, like twice a week I volunteer there. And then now I'm in the program, so I'm taking the courses, the education courses, and I'm also going to be volunteering at some elementary schools the upcoming months. So they kind of got me hooked up with that, and not really sure where I'm going from there, but having the volunteer experiences in both the medical field and the educational field will hopefully determine my way.
Great, thank you, Carly. And lastly, Noom, how did you find some of your summer opportunities?
Yeah, so for networking, I was pretty much on my own. My parents are nail technicians, and all of my family members, they aren't in the in the health field at all. So I was very lost my freshman year of college, but then I found some pre-med organizations. So the one that I got both my internship and my job for under is the pre-med organization called AED, or Alpha Epsilon Delta, and they have this page on their website, the resource page, where they list like all the summer opportunities, and then I just basically sent my resume to all of them. So persistency is the key, and then handshake also. I just uploaded my resume, and then some scribing jobs came through. Sent my resume to some of them. And then also the AAMC website, they have a lot of information geared toward just minority students and first generation students. So I went to some of their webinars and virtual career fairs, and I found some volunteering experiences through there. And I also told my friends about them too. So that's really good. And then also the pre-health, there's like a pre-health website. And then I also went there to like just check it out. And there's like a bunch of opportunities there. So I basically covered all my bases because I didn't have anyone to network with. Basically a lot of searching, and yeah, I mean, it was like very difficult, and I felt very lost at times, but I'm so glad that, you know, I did my work and search everywhere.
Awesome, thank you, Noom. And Noom and Carly, you both mentioned that you utilized some resources from the Olinde Career Center. Did either of you meet with Career Center staff afterwards to help add some of these experiences to your resume?
Yeah, so I'll just go first, Carly. So I actually did meet with a staff from the Olinde Career Center. So before I sent my resume into for like the medical assistant job, I actually talked to one of them to just edit my resume. And she was just reading through my resume, seeing my internship, and she asked me, did I have another job beforehand? And I said, yes, I work with my parents at the nail salon. And she was like, why didn't you put that on? And I said, I didn't think it would apply to, you know, being a medical assistant. And we talked about it, and she said, you know, just being at the nail salon, you had to be quick on your feet, moving customers here and there, talking to customers. And that is very important when you talk to patients. It's very similar. And plus, I also help my parents with like billing because they speak very little English and like just broken English. So I help with the cashier and things like that. So they said that's very important when you talk to a patient who doesn't speak English, you know. So I was able to put that into my resume. And voila, when I went to interview, they asked me, when you were at the nail salon, what did you do? And they were like, we need people who are quick on their feet, you know, putting patients in rooms. And so that was perfect, you know. And so I had to email the Olinde career staff and tell her like, thank you, you know, and now that's like permanently on my resume, and I'm so proud of it. So that's why I'm talking about it now. And another resource from the Olinde Career Center is the First Gen Career Mentor Program. So that program is new this year, and they were able to give me a mentor who isn't exactly going to she's not going to med school, but she's working as a researcher in the med field, you know. So she was planning on going to med school, but she ended up just becoming a researcher, pursuing a PhD. And she was able to give me some resources just regarding like just financial help, because going to med school is very expensive, and I really don't know a lot about like loans and things like that. And then also, since I'm applying this cycle to go to med school, she helped me a lot with my personal statement. She read about it, kind of just incorporating a lot of the things that I want to do as a doctor in the future, you know. So the Olinde Career Center has been a big help for me as the first gen, a very lost first gen. So yeah, thank you, Olinde Career Center.
That is so incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And Carly, what about you? Did you utilize any resources or meet with them to help you add some stuff to your resume?
Yeah, so I met with them several times, like in the past, about like different types of volunteer opportunities, different classes to take, stuff like that, to build my resume. I haven't gotten with them to like overlook it, but I definitely know that option is there. They make their presence known in so many ways, and they're such a positive impact on our campus. So I'm definitely looking forward to utilizing their services eventually.
Definitely. And you have time too. You're just starting out, so that's awesome. So our next question and our last question is just for our parent panelists. So we'll start this one out with Tashima. So why should parents and families encourage their Tigers to look for summer experiences?
I believe summer experiences are very important for your student to stay busy, engaged, interested, and to help build skills. We know that a lot of times during summer, students become idle. So when class is out, being involved in volunteer experiences definitely helps enrich the education of the student. So I think it's very important that volunteering is made a priority for your summer experience.
Awesome. Carmen and Michael, what about you? Why do you think parents and families should encourage their Tigers to look for summer opportunities?
Well, in addition to keeping them busy, and in our case, Maya was away for most of the summer, so that was good for both of us. But it also just it gives them a break from the rigor they go through with school and the scholastics, and so it just gives them sort of it may be rigorous, but in a different way, and they're building again different skills through their experiences. And then really it's great if they can align the summer experience with their interest in school. So whatever they're studying in school would be great, because then as they go back to class and they take those courses, they have practical experience, as Noom was just saying, actually, that align their experience in their schoolwork.
That's great. Thank you. And lastly, Bret, why should parents and families encourage their Tiger to look for those experiences?
Well, I think one of the obvious ones is colleges, even with scholarships, is not cheap. So the obvious to me is it helps with the expenses of college, in that it's helping them pay their own ways towards college to begin with. So it helps towards college costs. But the less obvious, but piggybacking on what my fellow council members have just shared, it teaches them independence. Hey, go out there and find something on your own that's going to contribute, that's going to show you a career path, which then teaches you self-reliance. It also makes them, helps them become self-starters, as opposed to, the parents saying, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? So it shows them a path to their future, an opportunity that they can create for themselves. It also creates, as our student panels have just shared, bullet points for their resumes to help them either towards graduate school, medical school, or towards jobs after this. It also makes them, I think, and probably perhaps the most important, makes them feel self-reliant but positive about themselves. They are doing something towards their career, towards advancing their lives that they have taken on themselves. So it's a positive reinforcement that they are capable and that they can do more than just be students going forward. Not that being a successful student isn't important. And it also, but it also depends in terms of how, I think it's also important though to consider what's your relationship with the tiger. I know for other panels I've been on, Lindsay has asked a similar question. It all depends on how much involved the parent should be, I think, and when they should be involved with their students doing this. I think it's nice to ask early on, encourage them to do so, but I think it's also important to parents give your students an opportunity to follow up on that, and then at some point maybe you follow on and say, what have you done? But give them the opportunities. Don't be a helicopter parent. Give them the opportunities to do something on their own, and then step in if you have to. But that goes back towards independence and self-reliance.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you again to all of our panelists this evening and our representative with the Olinde Career Center for sharing their advice and tips. We really hope this webinar has helped you gain some tools to help your tiger find some really great opportunities this summer, and definitely use what Michael and Carmen were saying with pivoting this year. So we're excited to see how y'all summers turn out. We know y'all might have some questions, and since we're running a little short on time, I'm gonna turn it over to Lindsay to give a few announcements and updates. But if you do have any questions, make sure to just leave it in the chat or the question and answer on Zoom or in the comments on Facebook, and we'll get those answered live for you at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carly. And thank you to our panelists. That was really some great insight that all of you shared. So like she said, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A on Zoom, or you can put them in the comments on Facebook. We're still happy to answer them. So definitely let us know what your questions are. We want to make sure you get the most out of this webinar. While you're thinking of those questions, I want to just do a little bit of recap. And so we really want to thank you again for joining us for this webinar and for all of our Tiger Family Talks we've hosted throughout the past year. We would love for you to take a look at those recordings, and you can do that on our website, lsu.edu/family, and then stay tuned for our fall 2021 webinar series. We will be basing the content and the dates on what you want. So the next slide is for you to fill out a little survey for me. And so if you don't mind, if you have just a couple of minutes, we're going to put that in the chat now so that you can get the direct link to the survey, or you can also follow the QR code. If you hold up your phone to the screen, your camera, it will pull that up. But go ahead and fill out that survey for us to let us know what you enjoyed about today's session, and then also what other topics are you interested in, because that's going to help us focus and decide what families want and what you need most for our fall webinar series. So I'll give y'all a minute to look at the QR code. I haven't seen any questions come through, so it looks like we were really able to answer a lot of your questions about summer experiences and building a resume, which is awesome. Thank you so much for filling out the survey. I'm going to go back to the last slide and encourage you to join the Family Association if you're not already a member. All of the parents that we featured as panelists tonight are members of the Family Association, and so they are able to be a panelist because they are part of that. It's a volunteer experience, but the Family Association also comes with lots of great benefits. You can check all of those out on our website, lsu.edu/join. Last but not least, please don't hesitate to contact our office. If you want to connect with any of the panelists that spoke today and want to get their contact information, email us and we will connect you. If you want your tiger to connect with any of the panelists or this, parent or students of the panelists today, please let us know. It's a community. We're all here to help support your tigers and ultimately want to see them succeed. And so let us know how we can assist. If you just have general questions as well, contact our office. And then we encourage you to follow us on social media via Facebook and Instagram. So with that, I want to thank all of you again. We will stick around in the background, and if you have any last minute questions you want to ask, thank you to our panelists, And we hope your Tiger has a wonderful rest of the semester and then also a wonderful summer experience, whatever that might be. Good luck to them. And of course, go Tigers.